Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I've got a new webcam. Hope you like it. It's a bit wider. You can see more of my world, but my face is smaller, a kind of a tiny little dot. Oh well. Uh, what are we up to today? We are going to do some extra things that we don't have a tutorial for. One of my lovely students, I can't quite remember which one, and I don't want to guess because I might get it wrong, asked me to show the fine details of making a report look good. And I thought I've got a few tricks and techniques for that, and maybe that could be useful for somebody. We've got our database tutorial. I hope that's the most recent one. No, the most recent one's up here. A lot of database tutorials. That's those are the zip files. Tutorial 2, tutorial 1 new. That's looking okay. Let's open that one and see what it says. It's hard to keep track of your data sometime. Tutorial videos, is that one? No, that's videos. We don't want videos. Tutorial 1 to 6. At least that one has got some copies of it. Tutorial 1. Oh, that's the one. This is the one. It's got a lot of copies because we've been doing the right thing. We've been copying it every time. I started this video a few days ago and didn't get through it. And so now we're on to the 14th of August. My goodness. So we're going to copy that. Control C, Control V. We're going to rename it. Let's try that again. Control C, Control, whoops. Escape. Control C, Control V. Yes, copied. Excellent. We're going to rename that one. And that is going to be 14th of August. Great. So we've got a new Access database, and we've got some complications, and we've got some procedures and even a report in there. So the report is a standard report, kind of ugly. We've seen that before, but some of the more interesting reports. Let's try to look at some of the more interesting reports. So we've got the top 3 average length of stay in guanymal hernia. That's got a whole bunch of data about the guanymal hernia. We've got the number of TDAG1, the number of records that make up those top 3. That's the top 3 average. Top 3 average length of stay. So those are the worst ones. We actually want the ones that have the most. Let's do the top 5. Let's start afresh. So we'll create a new query. We're going to say, well, let's do the top 5 diagnoses in the entire data set. So we're going to drag code ID to TDAG1. We'll want TDAG1, and we'll want code ID as well. By gender, why not? ASCII desk and then gender. So we'll run that. We'll sort it. Also, we need to do the totals on. We need to add another field so we can do the totaling, and that's going to be a count thing. And then we run that, and you get a list. So, we forgot to sort it. We want to sort it by descending order. Descending order, we run that. Great. And so that's the top 3 things. Oh, I forgot I put gender in there as well. We have to do that later. We have to get rid of gender here because we want the top 3. So those are the top ones. Gastroenteritis, reflux, constipation. Really looks like a lot of stuff to do with your intestinal tract. Let's say what are the top 10 of those? Not top 100, a top 10. Annoying that way. Great, so those are the top 10 diseases. Fantastic. We'll save that. Top 10 diseases. That's okay. Now we've got the top 10. Let's close. Don't press Control W. At least I didn't swear this time. That was good. offend your poor ears. Fortunately, I know that we can just go back into that one. Good time for drinking a cup of coffee while we wait for that to work. I wonder if my video is working well. Yes, excellent. Cool. So we've got our top 10, and we're not going to care about it. We're going to close that. So that's the top 10 diseases. Sure. Close that. And now, so we've got our top 10 diseases. Now let's find the top 10 diseases by gender. So create, oh, what the heck? Cancel that. Create another query. We'll grab our top 10 diseases, and we'll also grab TDAG1 so we can say which are the diseases that are in the top 10. So now we've got, if we grab sex and TDAG1, you'll see the diseases that actually, the gender of those diseases. So there's actually 12,000 people that have got that as particular diagnoses. The description is also useful there. And I like to have the code to the right of the description, just because we get code, description, and gender. So what would happen if we would count those out? We would say, we would turn on the totals button, we would add a field to count, and we count that. So for each gender, the 10 diseases, so we should have 20 rows there. 20 rows, lovely. And the number of people, male, female, male, female, male, female, male, female. So, and then also it's quite good to just cross tab that, because then you've, you can see them beside each other. You can see the rows and columns beside each other. Row, and this is a column heading, and that's a value there. Great. So that's woe to go, the top 10 diseases and the amount of people that have each one of those. Lovely. So that's the top 10. Now, it's interesting, like, so this one is more of a female thing. The reflux, gastritis is more women. This in hernia, my goodness, look at that, 10 times as many men as women. Other hernias, this hernia is more of a women's thing. So just interesting, what would be the percentages be? How would you calculate the percentages there? Quite an interesting little problem. And that's what I think would be quite useful to do in this thing. So let's figure out how to do that in the report and make a report of this. So how do we calculate percentages? One thing is we could add those together, and that would give us a total, and divide it by the one thing. So that would be one way of calculating that in. I'll show you how to do that. So we go into the design. We could say, so we'll close that query. What's that query called? It's called top 10 by gender. File, save, top. Gender bender. Top 10 by gender. And so that gives us a top 10 by gender query. Now, so that's that query. It's the result of that query. It's got, now, if we go into if you create a new query, you'll see that, so the top 10 diseases, so top 10 by gender query, the design of that, cancel that, the design of this query, the top 10 by gender query, this is the new query, this is going to the old query, we're going to the design of that. So that has got, what says is 4 columns, TDAG1, ASCII, DESC, sex, and the count. But when we look at it, when we run it, it's actually got 4 columns, but the 4 columns are not TDAG1, ASCII, DESC, F, and M. So that what happened is the crosstab converted that gender column into an F and M column and stuck the values in there. But if we want to, now if we drag that top 10 by gender query in there, we can see there's this column called F and M. It's actually instantiated those columns. So we could add all those things in there, and we could make another column and call it F plus M. Call it maybe total. And that to see it put square brackets around to say that these are fields, because they didn't know what to do with them. They must be fields. And then we run that, and that gives us the total. The total is 756, 684, 1440. So we could calculate the the percentages here if we wanted to. That would be a useful thing to do. Another thing is if you don't want to do all that fancy calculations there, you can actually drag in the top 10 query. That's also got the count in there. If we join those together on TDAG1, there's 10 here and 10 there, and the count of TDAG1, and drag that down there. You can see that also is the same number. It's the top 10, all those numbers. So you can do it by adding those up, or you can do it by dragging in the data from another source that you have. For example, if you had average length of stay, you could drag that in there and use that as well from a different source. But in this case, it's like that. So I'm going to show you how we make percentages. So percentages are just so it's like F divided by plus n. You can't, now what you wish you could do is you could do F divided by total. That would be the smart thing to do. You could run that. But it's not going to let you do that because total doesn't exist yet. Oh, it does. That's a new one. Oh, very good. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's a new change. So it calculates the total and then allows you to use it there, and that's quite useful. Now that these numbers are pretty ugly, you'd like to convert them into percents. We can. I don't know how you convert them into percents here. Yeah. You could do it manually. You could say, let's make another column. So we want M divided by total to get the percentage of that. You could do it manually. You could say F divided by total times 100 and round the whole thing up. Whoops. If there's not enough space in there, you can go into this thing called Expression Builder or Build, and you can see a little bit more of it there. It's a way to, it's sort of to help you, but I don't find it very helpful myself. And we want to round. Of F divided by 2. So we want to round it with like maybe 1 decimal places. 0 decimal, 1 decimal place. Great. So that's a way to calculate the percentage by yourself. But I think we can do much better than that. That's called percent female. And we copy that. No, I can't copy it. I can copy it there, maybe. No, that didn't work either. You can see being lazy has its disadvantages. Oh, I can't copy, I don't think. Paste. There we go. I'm going to go into the builder for that. Percent male. And that's round up M divided by total times 100. Comma 1 means I want to round to 1 decimal place. Yeah, so let's have a look at that. Something's broken. I broke it. Let's go into the build again of that. It says I've got 2 square brackets under my M, which I do. Okay, and run that. Great. So now we've got percentage male. What's the matter? The female is not rounded. I don't know what expression 1 is. Why is that different? So we've got a problem with that. Let's go into the design of that again. Because I unturned that off. That's why. So that's there we go. Oh, that's a problem too. Design, build that. You think you have trouble seeing that? Imagine me with my old eyes. We run that. Great. So now we've got the percent female rounded. The percent. This is the percents unrounded. This is the counts again. So we've gone in the query and created a bunch of extra fields, and we can use that in the report. That we end up with some nice totals in the report. That's one way to do it. Yeah, and I'll also show you how to do it in the actual report itself. It's kind of good to do it in a query because you end up with nice looking, your query is better for, doing calculations, but yeah, you can also do it in the report itself. So I'm going to save that. We'll call that top 10 by gender summary. with what? Yeah, with totals, with percentages. Fantastic. So that's what we're going to do our report on. So external data. So create a report. Now I'm going to do something a bit naughty here. I'm just going to create a report. And so what report? It takes the query and just creates the simplest report it can from that query, and it just blats it all in a report. And that's we've done pretty well there because we've got these nice percentages. We've got these. We've done a lot of work already, so it'll make a nice report. And there it does. It's a bit wide. It needs to be, again, the totals need to be changed, but we can get rid of these columns here. That's definitely ugly. We can get rid of our two totals columns. We don't need both of them. We can move those back over. Is that going to work? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think that's a line. Is that a line? Anyways, so I got to fiddle around with it to make it work. I would probably put it into landscape mode. Yeah. So you could do that. You could make those columns a little narrower. You could put the percentage beside the F. You could change those labels as well. So that's a kind of a nice little one. So you can see down here there's a column. It's called it's a totals column. It's actually, if we go look at the design, you'll see that is actually in the report footer. It's the last thing that's shown. It's the count of that. So in fact, if you're going to have a count, you should probably put it over there. I reckon, and with a little bit of text describing it. It's a not bad thing. It's really hard to move because it's sort of connected to these other things. So what I usually do is it did work there. It moved. Great. So we could call that total number. Total number of records in the top 10 summary, which is going to be 10, so it's not that exciting. But it gives you a sign of what it could be. You see, it says equals count of star. So you can put formulas in the boxes. So up here we've got percent male, percent female in the detail section. So that actually is just a field. It produces the values, percent male. That field produces the value total. If I go back into the layout view, you'll see that detail section is replicated 10 times, and that total box produces the total for each one of those. The percent box produces the percent for each one of those things. So that's what that does. But you can also put formulas in there. You can say equals count of star. So that's quite good. But you can also do things like sums, which is useful. Control C, Control V. So we're going to copy that box. We're going to move it around. We're going to put it under the F column. And so instead of count of star, we're going to say equals sum of F. And I think that'll work. Yeah, see, put square brackets around it. So it says, because I think that's a field. And I'm going to run that. And you'll see that now that is the total number of females that I've had in the top 10 thing. We could do the same thing again with the males. Over, up, sum of male. And you can also do the total. Equals sum of. It doesn't make any sense to add up the percentages, but yeah. So now we run that, and you'll see the total. Fantastic. So great. So yeah, it's pretty ugly. It's not lined up. I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. So you don't want to add up the percentages, but it still would be nice to know of the total, what is the total percentages? How would you do that? The same way we did it before. You would add up the totals and divide by the total. You add up these and divide by the total. So if we wanted the total percentage of male, the total percentage of female, we again copy that box. Actually, I would delete that one. Go to that one. Move over, move up, about in the right place. Now this one is a bit, can I go into build event? Yeah, great. We want an expression builder. I think expression builder is the right thing. Yes, great. So we want it to say equals sum of f divided by sum of total. Phew. Okay, and so that should give us the overall percentage. Did that work? That totally didn't work because it didn't save it. Well, sometimes you just can't trust it. Oh, the event. I don't think that's going to work. Anyways, we're just going to type it in there. It goes sum of f divided by sum of total. And we're going to copy that. Control C, Control V. Move that up to about there, and that's going to be the sum of m divided by the sum of total. So you can do calculations in the line, So that gives us this total overall percentage of male and female. So pretty ugly. Doesn't look like percentages. So we can change that with the format command. We're going to go into the properties. Is it design? Under design, property sheet, and this property of that we want it to be format as a percent, and same thing for that one. Format as a percent. Now that looks pretty good. Let's go back into the show see what that looks like. Oh, I should have rounded it as well. We can round it in the. Oh, it did round it for me. So 50%. Oh no, it didn't. Yeah, it rounded it to 2 decimal places. So it did that for me. 52% of all of the top 10 injuries are women. 47% of all top 10 injuries are men. This looks about right. Now, why can't we put a percent in there? That's a good point. Let's go and see if we can put a percent in there. And I think what's going to happen is that we're going to select both of those things. We're going to change it to a. See, you can also change the decimal places in here, which is what we did with the rounding. So sometimes it's better to do it in the report section. So we change the percent. And we go back into the view, and you'll notice that these numbers are all multiplied by 100 now, because percentages automatically multiply by 100. So what that means, our query is incorrect. It shouldn't be multiplying by 100. So let's go back into our query. Let's change that. Go into female. Get rid of the multiply by 100. We could get rid of the rounding too. We could do the rounding in the report itself. In fact, why don't we do that? Well, actually, that is just the same as those other ones. Yeah, let's get rid of the rounding. That's right. Get rid of the rounding. So we're left with percent female, F divided by 100, percent male, M divided by 100, which is exactly the same as these two. So why don't we get rid of these columns while we're at it? Because it's just duplication. I've saved it. That's important, because now when we go back in here and we rerun the query, it will have gotten the new data from the query, and now we've divided by 100. It's also using the same decimal rounding as this one. Great. So doing the calculations in the query helps, but you can also do a lot of the calculations in the report. Report is actually a very functional place to do the calculations. Great. So this is pretty ugly. This is not lined up. Let's line that up. That's a very useful thing to do. I find that's easier to do in the design view. So we've got all these, I don't know where those columns come from. Let's see if we can get rid of that. I delete those, cut. So it's going to crash it. Oh, they're gone. Yeah, excellent. They were looking ugly. They made the page too wide. Okay, so we want to line these up. So what you do is you draw a box around them all, and then you say, this is so fun. Arrange, align to top. And so it makes them all in a nice line. You can also do arrange, size, space, Is it equal? Yeah, so the line to top, I don't know why it doesn't, it should have let me to uh, space them out equally, but you can also space them all the same width to fit. But I find in this case, we just want to line them up with the things that are above them. So click, 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 and we saw it say align to, numbers should be aligned to the right. So now they're all aligned to the right. Click, 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 align to right. That one didn't change much either. Click, click, click. Shift clicking or control click actually aligns those up. Align those to the right. Click, click. Oh, sorry, click, click, click. Align to right. And click, click, click. Align to right. Great. So they should all be aligned up to with the at the same right hand side. We'll align that to the right as well. And now it should look a little better. Should be, everything should be lined up and down over top of each other. Oh, see, that did not work. Look at that. Yeah, it did not work. It didn't look like it was doing anything. Usually it moves. I think because I collected too many things, I connected it. So let's just line that. So that and that. Arrange a line to the right. That did not work. Click, click, line to right, line to left. Oh, why would left work? That's not the left-hand side. Anyways, I don't know. Sometimes stuff happens like that. So we're gonna align to left. That is so weird. Let's size and space to widest. So we're gonna make them all the same width, so it doesn't matter whether they're aligned to the left or right. Size and space to widest. Click, click, size and space, align to widest, and then align to left. It doesn't matter whether it's left or right, because it doesn't seem to want to go right. So again, align to size and space, align to widest, and align to left. Not looking okay. Click, 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 align size and space to widest, and align to left. Yeah, that definitely made a change. Size and space to widest, align to left. Yeah, so who says I'm not finicky? I'm finicky about not references, but I'm finicky about making things line up. So now you see the numbers are below those other numbers. They're all a bit too small. So let's go back into design and highlight all those things and make them a little bit longer. So right now the height is 0.291. Let's make it 0.391 and see what happens. Oh, no, that didn't do that. That moved it from the top. So we're going to undo that. Let's just drag it down then. See if we can just drag it down a little bit. There we go. That's good. So now we go into design and we can see them better. Totals. Lovely. So isn't that good? Okay, yeah. And the one other thing I was going to show you is that not only can you do totals and sums down here, you can also do totals and sums up here. So we calculated these percentages in the query, but you can also calculate these percentages and totals here, for example. So in the detail section, we can create another. We can copy that. Oops, Control Z. Oops, that didn't work. Control Z. No, that totally didn't work. Let's delete that. Let's Control Z. Oh my God. Z. My control key is stuck down. Control R. Control Y. Oops. Okay. Good. Let's figure out why the control key is stuck down. No, let's escape out of that. Good. Escape works now. Great. So edit. Well, I can't undo because for some reason. So we're going to get that back and we're going to drag that down a little bit. Sometimes it just wastes your time. Great. So we're going to copy that thing. We're going to copy it with the mouse. Copy. We're going to click on the detail section and we're going to click paste. It always pastes it over there. And so then it's often good to use the arrow key to move it around because it's just easier than clicking. Great. So we've got a formula we can play with. So actually, we don't want sum of male. We want actually just what's male times male plus female. The control key again is stuck down. Yeah. Nope. Control key stuck down. Control click. Control click. Let's see if it's fixed here. So equals m plus f. Hopefully you won't have that same problem. So we created a formula that's equal to m plus f. We run that, and you can see that it's in percentages because we had formatted as a percentage. We can change that decimal places format to just a regular number, and general number. And you'll see that number is the same as that number. Why is that? Because we calculated that as the total of f plus m in the query. Well, we can also do it in the report. And so you can actually do the percentages in the report too. Why not? Let's see what that looks like. So we could say, we could copy that. Annoying. Don't press Control C and Control V, Dennis. That's the question. That's the solution to that. We're going to click on that. We're going to right click on it. We're going to say copy. We're going to right click on that and say paste. Put it below, which is a pain. We want to move it over. So we could create we could percentage. We could say equals m divided by open bracket m plus f. That also gives you the percentage of that. Then the percentage of men. We've made that a bit too long. Let's move that back up there. And now we go into the layout view. And you can see 0.475, 47.5. So if we change that column to a percentage. So you can do your calculations in your query, or you can do your calculations in your report. It don't matter. You just want those numbers on the page. But it makes for some nice, beautiful things. And so if you want to get 100% on your assignment, you want to have this stuff. You want to have percentages. You want things to be laid out nice. You want it to be pretty. You want to have the right words, and you want it to fit on a page and create joy in your reader. That's you can either calculate the percentages this way, or you can calculate it this way. Have fun.